Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is now in session. Our first case is cause number 328994. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Raekwon Lee Mickens. Mr. Mickens, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mickens, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mickens, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mickens, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Mickens?
All right, just ready to get home.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mickens, your attorney of record is attorney Terrence Allison. However, Mr. Allison is not here. Standing in for Mr. Allison is attorney Marivius Allen. Does attorney Allen have your permission to stand in for attorney Allison?
Yes, sir. I seen him yesterday.
Okay. Mr. Allen, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Now, the state is represented by attorney Blake Ham. Attorney Ham, how are you doing?
Doing well, thank you, Judge.
That's good. Mr. Mickens, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This document alleges that on or about October 13th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mickens, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Mickens, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, sir.
Okay. Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Allen, this is the box that should be checked. You can just see it's the box that have DWI first. Mr. Mickens, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Actually, on page, let's see, go down, so. On page 1 of this document, I think it has your signature that was written in.
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty.
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above a line that is titled defendant. Now, did
Yes.
you place your signature on the first page and your initials on the second page and your signature on the third page of this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Mickens, I have another document before me that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, and it has a signature above the line and it's titled Defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And the second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Allen, do you have that discovery certification? Now, Mr. Mickens, I also have a document before me that is titled Discovery Certification. And there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Did you also sign this document on paper?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Mickens, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Mickens, Just for the record, on page 1 of the misdemeanor plea admonishment, this is a Class B misdemeanor, DWI. And for a Class B misdemeanor, DWI, the range of punishment is confinement in jail for at least 72 hours, but not to exceed 180 days, a fine not to exceed $2,000, or both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that range of punishment?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Mickens, your attorney went over these documents with you, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections, Mr. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Allen, you've advised and counseled Mr. Mickens. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Mickens, your attorney, Mr. Allen, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Mickens, your attorney of record, Mr. Allison, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mickens, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 60 days time served with court costs to be taxed and retired.
Okay, Mr. Mickens, the state is offering that you serve 60 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail for this case because you've already served 60 days. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $487, but you will not be required to pay the $487 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Mickens, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mickens, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Mickens, please knock on the door and follow the bailiff, and you're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You have a blessed day as well, Mr. Allen.
And Mr. Kimmler.